We're excited to welcome you to our first ever virtual D-School learning experience. We're about to give you a crash course in the methodology we teach here at the D-School called Design Thinking.
And when we started the D-School in a double-wide trailer in our first boot camp class, we asked the question, how could we create a 1-hour experience for the students that captured everything that they would experience in 10 weeks? And we created this 1-hour design challenge that you're about to go through. What I would invite you to do is to show up as a student again, to take your eye off the challenge that you're facing at home or at work or in your organization, and pay attention to the source of innovation that is you as an innovator, and see by working on this challenge if you could grow your capacity to work in a more human way, a more iterative way, a more collaborative way, and a more prototype-driven way.
In true D-School style, we're just about to get started. We want to warn you, it's going to feel fast-paced. It's going to feel like we're not giving you quite enough time to accomplish everything that we're asking you to accomplish. But what we're asking you is to trust us, to lean into the process, have a little bit of fun, and hopefully the experience that we all have together will allow us to have a really rich conversation and debrief, either as a pair with your partner or in your classroom or with your organization, about how the principles that we're going to highlight impacted the way you actually worked. The last thing you need to know before we get started is you need to make sure that you've got the right materials. We want to make sure that everybody in the room has one printout of the document that's called the gift giving experience. We also want to make sure that everybody's got a partner. This is a paired activity, so make sure there's an even number of people in the room. Make sure each person has a couple of Sharpies that they can write with. And then lastly, make sure that you've got a few crummy arts and crafts supplies that you can use during prototyping later on. Make sure you've got a roll of aluminum foil, some popsicle sticks, some duct tape, markers, stickers, things like that, things that you can use to make a scrappy prototype later on. With that said, we're about to get started, so let's get ready to dive in. We believe that the most important part of your experience is actually gaining a deep understanding of our methodology, and part of that is really understanding the language that we call design thinking. And we believe that fluency in that language is in part a function of cycles. So we're going to embark on a challenge to get a quick introduction to some of the language we use.
So this is the process we're going to go through. Empathy, define, ideate, prototype, test. We're going to go through all these stages with you. Empathy is getting out and talking to your customers directly. Very hands-on experience. Define is defining a problem statement from that empathy work. Ideations, commonly brainstorming is one of the ways you ideate, but you get lots of new ideas about what you might want to do to solve that problem. Prototyping, you actually build and make things to test those concepts, and then finally you actually get out and you actually test them with your users. So we teach it in a linear fashion. And I think the key thing is traditionally so much of our work lives we start with define. We start with a problem defined for us. But one thing we want to say before we even start this exercise, sort of the most important thing I would say in my teaching of design process is think about it a little bit more like a set of mindfulnesses. We teach it in a linear way. But as you finish, we'll talk a lot more about how to use it in a non-linear way, meaning it's a set of mindfulnesses. You know, prototyping can be done with or without testing. Ideation can be done with or without defining a problem and empathizing in advance. So I want you to think about these as you sort of go through the exercise.
So our bias, as George mentioned, our bias is to do rather than talk, and then after we do together to reflect.
Yep.
So I'm actually going to get us moving. And what we're going to do is we're going to engage in about an hour-long activity. As a group, we're going to redesign the gift-giving experience, okay? I'm sure some of you were like bad kindergarten students and looked ahead in your packet. It's okay, I forgive you. Please don't look ahead if you haven't already done so. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to right now think about the last gift you gave. We're going to redesign the gift-giving experience. But the thing is, when we do human-centered design, we aren't designing for ourselves. We're going to be designing for a user, and you're going to design for somebody at your table. So what I want you to do really quickly is think for a moment about the last gift you gave. Everybody just reflect. What's the last gift I gave? And we define the gift-giving experiences everything from realizing you needed to buy a gift or realizing you forgot to buy a gift, to thinking about what you might want to get, to figuring out what you're actually going to buy, to purchasing it, to paying for it, to wrapping it, to giving it, to receiving thanks, to not receiving thanks. All of that is your experience, okay? So think about that experience. What's the last experience you had giving a gift? Think about what it was like. And what we want to challenge you to do now is you're not going to be redesigning the gift you gave. You're not going to be redesigning your own experience. We want you to redesign your partner's experience of giving a gift. So the point here is not to help your partner find a better gift. That's not the point. Can't go back. There's no time machines here. But the point is help your partner gain empathy for your partner and about their entire experience of the gift-giving experience, and actually redesign that experience such that the next time they give a gift, it's a better experience for them and hopefully for their recipient as well. So here's what I want you to do. The person you're sitting next to is going to be your user, okay? It's your partner. Here's how it's going to work. It's going to feel fast-paced. It's going to feel rushed. It's going to feel like I'm interrupting you a lot. I apologize in advance, but the point here is to get through a full cycle, and we could spend a lot more time on this, but we're not going to. So what we're going to do is, person on the left, I'm going to call you, or in the front, depending on how you've arranged yourselves, I'm going to call you partner A. Person on the right or in the back, I'm going to call you partner B. So partner A, what I want you to do is I want you to turn the page to the first page of your packet. And you see on the left-hand side, it says interview. Partner A, I want you to ask your partner, partner B, about the last gift they gave, the experience they had. You're not looking for a bug list, but just try to understand the entirety of their experience, okay? So remember, dig in, ask questions, but try to go beyond the tactical if you can and ask why, get into some motivation, some emotions, that sort of thing. I'm going to give you 4 minutes, and then I'll call for a switch, and partner B, you'll have 4 minutes to ask partner A about their experience. Ready, go. So now what we want to do is switch partner B. Now it's your chance to dig into partner A's last gift giving experience, okay? We're gonna give you 4 minutes and then we'll move on to the next step. So partner B, interview partner A. Sorry for the interruption. Again, hopefully if you're annoyed with me right now, you think, oh, I just had one more question, that's a really good sign. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do next. If you move to the right side of your page in step 2, what we wanna challenge you to do is dig a little bit deeper, okay? So hopefully there are a couple of things that stood out to you in your first conversation that you thought, that was kind of interesting or unexpected. What we want you to do is begin to probe on those areas that you found interesting, okay? And go beyond the tactical into more emotional territory, okay? Seek emotions, seek stories, seek motivations. And I think the goal should be if in the next 4 minutes you could get your partner to cry, you know you're really onto something.
So the one thing that is funny, but the key thing about design is getting to emotion at this time is actually important. The reason we're not reading a marketing report and the reason we're not using Excel to analyze the data right now is you actually do need the emotion. So if your partner mentions something about giving a gift to their mom and they seem like they kind of squirm in their seat a little bit, you want to dig in. What's up with your mom? Tell me why that was so hard, right?
It's going to get a little freaky.
It's going to get a little bit, and the worst they can do is say, I'm not comfortable talking about it, right? It's like, fine, you don't know them at all. They don't work. Hopefully you didn't sit next to someone in your company, right? They don't work. You're never going to see them again after this week. So dig in. It's a learning experience, as George said, but getting to emotion and getting to the motivations is the important part.
Exactly.
So that's this next interview. That's why we're doing it twice.
4 minutes, and then we'll let you know when to switch. Partner A, dig deeper. Okay, partner B, it's now your time to dig a little bit deeper, okay? You got 4 minutes. Remember, try to go beyond the tactical and know that we've got Kleenex boxes in the back if you need them, okay? 4 minutes, and then we'll move on to the next step.
Cheers yet. No cheers yet.
want to do now is if you turn the page to step 3, what we want to do now is take a moment for more individual reflection, okay? So this is less engaging with your user and more reflecting about the conversations you've had with your user. What we want you to do is actually catalog and inventory the needs and the insights that you uncovered in your conversations. And what we mean by that is needs are things that your partner is trying to accomplish in giving gifts. They're typically verbs, okay? So they're trying to show love. They're trying to express their self. They're trying to be appreciated. They're trying to feel important. Those are all verb-based. That's what they're trying to accomplish. And then insights are things that you unexpected nuggets that you could probably leverage and design in some way, but you aren't sure how yet. So maybe, for example, you discovered that your partner thinks that handmade gifts are way more meaningful than store-bought gifts, or that your partner, their gift-giving experience is more about them than it is their user, okay, or their gift recipient. There are lots of interesting insights that you can uncover, but the idea here is just catalog a bunch of them. Take some creative leaps, make some inferences. It doesn't have to have come from your partner's mouth for you to jot it down. Right now, you're just cataloging a list.
The other thing is on your workbooks, the best way to do it, design is messy. So let's just get that on the table, all right? It's going to get messier and messier. The easiest thing to do is actually rip off your interview, because you can see it then. And just switch colors. If you've used red, switch to black, and just go through and literally just circle the verbs. That'll get to needs, if you circle the verbs. Insights, this is a great one actually, it's filled with insights. So easier on insights here, just to circle the things that are emotional and just move those down. You're not doing any wordsmithing right now, you're just making a list.
So we'll give you 3 minutes for that, and then we'll move on to the next step. Again, this is more personal reflection. All right, so what we want to do now is begin to move from the left side of your page to the right side, from step 3 to step 4. And what we're going to do in step 4 is begin to articulate a problem statement. So this is your unique statement of the problem as informed by empathy for your user, okay? So what you want to do is look at the left side, find the list of needs that you jotted down, find the most compelling or most interesting or unexpected, and just plug it in on the right-hand side of the page. Same for the insights. Whatever insight you find most resonant or unexpected or meaningful, plug into the right side. The top blank says name, or what does it say? Description, yeah, bonus points. We'll be giving out extra credit at the end of the program for people who can use some colorful language other than a name to describe their user, okay? This will help you later on if you're colorful in your description. It's a joke, you can laugh, it's fine. But we're going to give you 3 minutes for that. And the idea here is not to be precious. You're not carving this in stone. It's just a first pass at a problem statement. So if we gave you the statement, redesign the gift-giving experience, what does that mean for your user? And is that even the right prompt? I mean, maybe there's a whole different need or opportunity or problem to be working on. That's yours to determine, but you're free to leave the reservation, okay? So take the empathy that you gain for your user and craft it into a concise problem statement, and then we'll move on. "30-second warning." Again, remember, this isn't precious. Just get something down. You'll likely iterate on it. It's just a prototype of a problem statement. Think about it that way. All right, so we're going to move on now. One rule of thumb we give ourselves to know whether we've hit on a good problem statement is 3 S's: short, specific, and sexy. So if it takes you more than one breath to articulate your problem statement, it may not be short enough. Anyway, that's fine. It's a first pass, and you're going to revise it later. But if you turn the page to step 5, what you see is some boxes in front of you. What we want you to do, what we're going to invite you to do, is abandon the urge to use alphanumeric characters and actually embrace your inner child and draw a few things, okay? No, the point is none of us are good artists, right? That's the point. You can embrace that, it's fine, it doesn't matter. In fact, the crummier your sketches are early, the better, because they can be misinterpreted in new, unexpected directions, okay? That's the truth. So what we want to do now is, you're going for quantity, not quality. You're not trying to hit upon the right answer. You're trying to explore the possibilities in the solution space, okay? So hopefully one of your solutions entails magic, and one entails time travel, okay? Try to get outside of the box and just have fun, okay? If 5 boxes is easy for you, flip it over and sketch 15. The most I've ever seen in 5 minutes is 37. So if anybody can break that record, more power to you. We're gonna give you 5 minutes. Remember, be visual, no alphanumeric characters, and then we'll move on to the next step in 5. Don't get too caught up in details, okay? Once you communicate the essence of your idea, move on. This is very counter to the way we usually work. You're not concerned with perfectly communicating the idea or making sure it's a good idea. Just get it out there and move on. Get it out of your head. Lots of folks working on the back side of their page. Love it. right, can everybody hear me in the back okay, by the way? Okay, great. All right, so a quick poll. In the spirit of celebrating quantity, not quality, I'm curious to know how many of you were able to sketch 3 ideas? If you could sketch 3 ideas, at least, raise your hand. At least 3. Okay, at least 4? Keep your hands up. Keep your hand up. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And now what I want you to do is everybody stand up and switch seats with your partner, okay? So leave your sketches where they are. Switch seats with your partner. All right, and here's what I want you to do. Partner A, it's your chance to share your sketches with partner B, okay? So it's your chance to share your sketches. So partner A, the sketches that were sketched for you, just put them under the table or something so that they're off the table, and you're only left with the sketches sketched for partner B, okay? So partner A, you're going to be sharing what you drew for partner B.
This is not the like your reviews at work where you got to say 3 good things for 1 bad thing. You can say all bad things. Your other participant doesn't care. They just spent 4 minutes sketching with us yelling at them. They just don't. These sketches are the reason to show them to your user is to get feedback and decide what direction to go. So you're a team working. These are probes. Think of them as probes, not as your final designs. You're trying to figure out where to head. Okay.
Seek learning, not validation. Okay.
All right.
Seek learning about your user, not validation of your ideas. Take on an attitude of a learner. Your sketches, just think about them this way. They're an artifact to facilitate a deeper understanding of your user, okay? You're not looking to see whether they like it. It doesn't matter if they like it. You want to know why, right? That's the important part. 4 minutes, and then we'll switch, and partner B, you can share. we're going to switch. So the sketches you guys were just discussing, we're going to switch. Partner B, it's now your chance to share your sketch with Partner A. So we're going to give you 4 minutes as well to share your sketches, and then we'll move on to the next step. Step 7, what we want to do now is basically incorporate what you've learned, both about your user and also about some of your solutions. Find out hopefully you found out a little bit of what directionally where you hit pay dirt. So hopefully some of your ideas totally tanked. Some of them were kind of cool, but you definitely have a deeper understanding of your user. Take that understanding and those solutions, what you learned about them, and pull it into one single new solution sketch, okay? So we're just going to give you 3 minutes to do this. One single solution. Try to avoid alphanumerics again, but if you need to add details, you can. And then we'll move on after that. here's what we're gonna do. If you thought it was crazy before, it's about to get really fun now. Exciting. Crazy is the wrong word, exciting. What we wanna do now is if you flip the page on the left-hand side, you actually don't need to, because we're gonna go from 2 dimensions to 3 dimensions. So the concept that you've sketched in step 7, we wanna take that concept and bring some life into it, okay? So you're gonna be building actual prototypes of your concepts right now, okay? You're gonna be building a physical, tangible representation of your idea that your user can engage with. That's your goal. So does that make sense? In 10 minutes, you're gonna be putting a real, tangible prototype in the hands of your user. We'll give you 10 minutes. Sorry, we don't have any CAD materials or welding machines. You're not gonna find perfect materials, just grab whatever you can and get building. You don't even have enough time to choose the right stuff. Grab a handful and keep moving so other folks can grab prototype materials. The most important thing is start building. If you've designed an experience for your user, use the chairs, use whatever you have to do to actually recreate that experience in 3 dimensions, okay? It doesn't have to be perfect, it can't be perfect.
Is it you or is it me or all the things we say? Illusions haunt my dreams and carry me away. Wanna get you close to me, I'm trying to find a way to form my heart and what we do and what we say.
2-minute warning, 2-minute warning. The 2 minutes to bring it to life. I love that somebody's gone outside to prototype. I love that folks have commandeered other furniture. Keep it up, we got 2 minutes left. All right, here's what we're gonna do. I realize most of you feel like your prototypes aren't done. That's actually better. It's a good thing. What we wanna do now is we're gonna move to step 9. What you'll see on step 9 is it's a feedback grid. What we wanna do is we want to treat our physical prototypes much like we did our sketches. So have the attitude not of a salesman, but of an anthropologist, okay? So you're not trying to convince your user that this is the right thing for them. It's just a slightly highly more resolved probe to more deeply understand your user, okay? So partner A, we're gonna give you 4 minutes to test your prototype with your user. Try to create an experience to the extent possible and actually put your prototype in your user's hands and get their feedback, okay? And then we'll switch and partner B will give you about 4 minutes to do the same. Jot down anything that you find meaningful in the feedback grid in step 9. right, all right. It's time to switch. Switch. Partner B, you should be sharing your prototype with partner A, okay? Partner B, share your prototype. Partner A, you got 4 minutes. So hopefully what you see here now, even in your desire to not stop, is that even in an hour, you can get really invested in a concept, even in an hour. And even though we provided you with really crappy materials, you think, some of you are going, are there VCs here? Because I got an idea worth funding. This thing is legit. All right, the point is though, that we wanted to get you a quick exposure to the process, okay? So let's begin to extricate ourselves up a bit from this project.
All right, congratulations. You just finished your first design challenge. Take a deep breath and relax for a second, and we're going to shift gears a little bit. For the last hour and a half or so, you've been focusing on your user and trying to understand their needs and trying to develop a solution that resonates with them. What we want to ask you to do is push pause on that challenge and actually remember that the goal here is to focus on yourself as an innovator and growing your own capacity to innovate. So what we want to ask you to do now is to refocus your energy and your attention to how you learned over the last hour and a half or so.
My guess is you've experienced something that might be a little different than the way you normally work. How most of us have been taught to work is when we're given a challenge that we just accept that challenge, and then we put our heads down and then we think our way through that problem and then hopefully show a right answer at the end. Innovation requires a slightly different way of working. That when you're stuck, that you have different instincts. First is that you have a bias towards being more human-centered in the way you work. That means going out and spending time with the people whose lives are impacted by what you do. And from having empathy for what their experience is, you reveal insights about what their latent needs are. And that gives you confidence that you're working on a meaningful problem. The second might be to have an attitude of prototyping in everything that you do. To take your ideas and get them out of your heads earlier than you might otherwise be ready and put them in front of other people to test what's working and what's not. Third is to be more collaborative in the way you work, to involve folks who have diverse perspectives than you do, and to have diverse teams. And innovation is a team sport. And then finally, to have a bias towards action. If you find yourself talking a lot, chances are that's time to get up and do something, whether it's go talk to someone or try something out. And by working this way, our hope is that you will start to discover that you'll end up in a better place working design thinking style than the way you normally would work, and that your instincts would change. That when you're stuck, instead of putting your head down and thinking your way through, that you'd have a different set of instincts, and that is to get up and go out and engage people or try things out.
So we've got a few questions that we want to prompt you with, either for discussion with your partner, for discussion with the classroom that you're in, for discussion with your organization, but a few questions just to get you to think about how this way of working influenced the outcomes of your process over the last hour and a half or so. First question is, how did engaging with the real person and testing a prototype with the real person change the direction that your prototype took? What was it like showing unfinished work to another human being? That's something that's really unfamiliar to a lot of us. What was that like? Talk about that. How did the pace feel? It was quick, iterative cycles. How did that feel relative to how you normally work? Design thinking is actually an iterative, self-directed process, and it's directed by your personal sense as a designer of which area you need to explore more. Based on what you learn, it informs what you should do next. So based on where you are with your partner and the prototype that you developed, would you go back and gain more empathy for your partner? Would you redefine the problem statement? Would you ideate more solutions? Would you craft a new prototype? Think for a moment about what you would do next if you had it over to do again. And then lastly, what we'd ask you is, what is one thing that you want to try tomorrow? If you could take one principle, one tool, what could you infuse into your work tomorrow? And we invite you actually to join a conversation, a more global conversation on Twitter, and tweet your answers to some of these questions using the hashtag #DGift. And then we also invite you to explore the Twitterverse and find out what other people are learning and what other people have taken away from this experience as well.
And then finally, congratulations again on surviving a D-School experience. We'd like to invite you to be a part of the D-School family. And this is our challenge to you as you go. One, put what you've learned to work as soon as possible, whether it's a project at work with your colleagues or something at home. Second, that you would have a heart for nurturing the creative capacity of others, that you would help teach others this way of working. And finally, that you would forever consider yourself a student of innovation and that you would continue to invest in yourself in this way. Thanks again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing what you post online.
By the power invested in us,
by other wayward thinkers,
we now pronounce you design thinkers.
Go forth
and innovate.